gone well in some parts, but of course we have observed some challenges in the schools where we have been monitoring. We saw that some schools have experienced high numbers of learners who have come through, and there is no space to accommodate them. And now plans are being made to change the timetable to allow for a platooning timetabling, which will ensure that all the learners get to learn on the same day. But also so in other parts of the province, which is where we are in Gauteng, that there are some schools where they do not have enough furniture. They are waiting for the deliveries to take place. So some learners do not have what they need for them to continue with education today. But in the majority of the schools, they've been able to commence with learning. We went to schools where teaching and learning is taking place and it's all quiet and things are going on as normal. So it's not the same scenario everywhere. In some instances where planning did not happen as expected, there are still some challenges that need to be sorted out, but we've given them until this week to resolve all those outstanding issues.
All right, Elijah, I know that it's just started, so you may not have all the data yet, but do you have a sense of what percentage of schools are back and the ones that are facing challenges, what percentage those are, and have they promised you that by the end of the week they will meet your deadline?
Yeah, that's the word that was conveyed in the preparation meetings which were held last week with provinces, that they would need a few days to try sort out some of the challenges that were going to be experienced. And these were identified as well. And overcrowding was one of them. The lack of furniture was another. And of course, the issue of timetabling, actually changing the timetabling from rotational to daily attendance. That too was discussed. So we understand that those schools that are experiencing these challenges will have to try and make those plans and finalize them before Friday so that by next week, things are back to normal. Well, we believe that a large majority of our schools, perhaps 95% or so, would have gone back to normal learning because we saw that when we sent the circular last week for them, explaining to them what needed to happen, some principals really got down to the business of planning for this week. So it is in those schools where we have seen that teaching and learning is taking place. Others have been calling us for clarity in certain areas in terms of just movement of people and the management of such, especially at the entrances, because we were now used to seeing thermal screening and screening in terms of symptoms. And the circular and the gazette, which was sent on Friday and yesterday, does do away with thermal screening at entrances. But we saw that in some places they were still not aware. So we needed to alert them to such changes so that they're able to allow learners into school so that they can settle down and focus on curriculum implementation. So those are some of the things that we are dealing with. But as we continue to monitor, we are seeing the situation starting to normalize somewhat.
Talk to me about how you worked with schools in the run-up to return to full-time learning and how you try to prepare them and how they interact with you before this happened. Well,
we have been speaking with the teacher unions. We have been speaking with the SGB associations. We've also been speaking to civil society organizations that represent some of the organizations that are playing a role in the basic education sector. We have also been talking to the South African Principals Association, who represent principals. And the feedback that we got was that they were ready to receive all learners. And there was acknowledgement as well that there would be challenges, and there was agreement on how these were going to be resolved. So there's continued engagement. Even now, in parts of Gauteng, there's a meeting with school principals to alert them to the changes, to also give them an approach in terms of tackling some of the issues that they are still going to face this year in terms of timetabling, in terms of overcrowding, in terms of all those other issues that were discussed in those meetings. So we have consulted widely and spoken to our stakeholders and obtained their input in terms of what we need to do to go forward. But there's overwhelming support in terms of returning all our learners back to school, acknowledging, of course, that there are challenges that we need to sort out, but those will be resolved. The minister also did indicate yesterday that she's in talks with the Minister of Finance to try resolve some of the issues that need a budget to sort out. such as mobile classrooms to create additional space, the delivery of furniture so that we're able to provide for each and every child, and also the issue of stationery in those parts of the country where this had not been delivered, especially those parts in the Eastern Cape. So all of these matters are being attended to, and there will be another meeting later this week to check on how provinces are progressing in terms of resolving all the outstanding matters.
Elijah Mhlanga, spokesperson for the Department of Basic Education, thanks so much for your time on SABC News.